The city of Odessa owes its very existence to one of the world's most iconic female leaders, Catherine the Great. She wanted to build a new port city to open up the south of the Russian Empire to commerce. And because, with access to the Black Sea, you can also get to the Mediterranean through the Istanbul Strait and then the rest of the world, this was a great place to put that city.
Okay, so this was when Ukraine was under Russian governance. What era are we talking here?
Well, the Russian Empire took control of most of the Ukraine through various wars and treaties in the 1700s, and Our Lady, Catherine the Great, oversaw the capture and transformation of Odessa in the year 1794.
Okay, so Putin isn't treading any new ground right now.
Well, depends on who you ask about that. It's a bit of revisionist history to say, oh, Ukraine was always part of Russia. I mean, the Russian Empire took it over through military force.
Okay.
But there was a problem building a city here, a severe lack of trees in the area. Because a plentiful supply of local wood is very important if you want to build a city back in the 18th century. Most Russian cities were built of wood, which is why, for example, Napoleon could burn down parts of Moscow. Though actually the Muscovites burned down part of Moscow when Napoleon invaded. So with no timber available, they turned to the ground beneath them, which is a type of limestone that is great for building with. And they go into overdrive, digging it up to build this new city.
Okay. Well, and there was I, quarried that they wouldn't have the resources to build a city.
Okay, I have to admit that one's better than amazing.
So you can't just leave holes in the ground. I'm guessing that's not a way to operate.
No. So instead what you end up with is these tunnels with frequent twists and turns, because when miners are cutting rock, they're chasing the strong sections, right? And if they hit a section with cracks, they know that section's weak, so they change direction, and this happened a lot. There's also fewer straight lines if you look at this, because that's much safer when you're digging, less chance of a kind of widespread collapse. And another reason it's such a maze, I'm not going to make the pun again, it's a maze down there, is that the digging was unregulated. So anyone could have a dig wherever they wanted.
Wow. I mean, unregulated digging, you're asking for trouble, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's not a good system.
You always need to have a safety officer and a bunch of regulations, and then regulations to regulate the regulations.
Yeah, some people with like nasal flat voices coming in. Excuse me there, can I just check that you have permission to create that quarry there? Are you making your own maze? Do you have a map of it? Where will it lead?
Yeah, and you just bribe them with vodka too, so that's not going to improve the quality of digging either.
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you for the gift that you gave me there. I'll turn a blind eye on this one occasion, but please try to be careful when building quarries. But in Russian.
Do you
think they have like middle management nasal voiced people in Russia, or is that just in English?
Absolutely. Every place has middle managers. How can you run a modern society without the Mittelarbeiter?
Right.
So try to take a guess how big these are. Give me a number in like hundreds of miles.
I'm going to say 200 miles.
Not even close. These catacombs are estimated to be 1,500 miles across, multiple different levels. Now let me put that into context for you. Paris has catacombs that are about 150, maybe 200 miles in length. Rome, bit longer, maybe 300 miles. So the ones in Odessa are 3 times the length of the Rome and Paris tunnels combined.
That's huge.
Yeah. And, if you get bored, don't think you're going to text your friends, because there's no mobile phone connection, no radio communication, no GPS, and, to make it better, pitch dark and absolutely silent.
So the infrastructure that these guys came up with was pretty poor, not to have any GPS, any signal down there, no light bulbs.
Well, what was it like when they were digging these things out in the 19th century? The most sophisticated form of communication is shouting real loud. Or pigeons, which also get lost because it's dark.
Yeah, and they probably get a bit scared down there as well, like we would.
Yeah, I'd be freaking terrified. Look, let's ask Lewis what it was like.
It was terrifying, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was following this guide, and he's only about 2 paces in front of me. But if he went round a corner, the light doesn't travel, the sound doesn't travel.
Oh.
And I was lagging behind a bit once, and I don't know what, I was just looking at something on the walls. And I looked up, and I had that feeling of I can't see him, I can't hear him.
Oh.
It was absolutely. But then you turn a corner, you just about see a glimpse of light. But it's that not being able to hear. It's the sensory deprivation.
Why didn't he have a torch?
Well, no, we both had torches. I think. Oh no, he did play a game once where we all turned our torches off.
Right.
Just to experience absolute darkness, which is again something that I've never experienced. It was crazy. But yeah, I learned from that mistake of not staying close to him, that not to do that again.
Yeah.
Lewis, can I ask a question and I want an honest answer? Did a little wee come out?
No, well.
Or worse.
The little mine came out. You just hearing about it.
It was my heart rate went up a little bit. Like, okay, where is he? And you just go in one direction, and you just see him again or hear him again, and you're like, whew.
It does explain Lewis's personality. He has a kind of overly present now, isn't he? He's like, just in case the lights go off, he needs to know where everything is in the room.
He always carries a torch now.
Where are the light switches?
He's not just happy to see us. That's a flashlight in his pocket.
Right.
Just in case.
Nice. That sounds absolutely horrific. And what you say, 1,500 miles?
1,500 miles.
That's a long way. That's 500 miles further than the Proclaimers were willing to walk for their lady love. And that was a long way.
That's a good pop song reference. I'm impressed. So, the authorities try to control access to this obviously extremely dangerous locale, but there are apparently over 800 points where you can get into these things. And some of the places are like the garage that we saw in the video at the start. People get down there no matter what you try to do, and yeah, some of them died because they can't find their way out. But I'm going to tell you a happier story, something that happened recently. 3 guys decided that they're going to go on a little bender away from the wives. They get a couple of bottles of vodka and some food. They go down into the catacombs, and a few hours later, their wives realize something's wrong. Where are our husbands? So they go out to the pub themselves, and no one does anything for a week. Now, actually, they genuinely get upset.
Right.
And they ring the emergency services, and a rescue operation commences. Now, the air in the catacombs is really clean and fresh. No pollution. But how are they going to find these guys, right? It turns out one of the rescuers had a really keen sense of smell, and he sensed the vodka.
Wow.
And he follows this trail of vodka like a sniffer dog. He tracks them down. He finds one of them lying on the floor, shivering, but crucially alive.
Yeah, you can't shiver while you're dead.
No. Dead people don't shiver.
No, as they say. I'll shiver when I'm alive.